Are you still there, chat? Because we're having a game here where I think Fabian too, do not know who is gonna win. Let's take a quick little look at the player card that was prepared for me. And there it is. Fabian, what do you know about these two? Have you watched yesterday? What do you feel about the coming matchup here?
Well, I obviously casted Grisha's game yesterday, and
there was some drama there.
I mean, when little kids get control of stuff, things happen. I mean, Grisha has put in some requests regarding the strategy of the future match, and he's first of all, the most important one is that he's requested his mom to not enter his room middle of the match. What are your opinions about that, Mr. Tommy? Do you think that it's a reasonable request?
I'm gonna stay neutral on this entire topic and gonna say nothing. I wish Grisha all the best for his coming game. I know you and him have a very year-long Counter-Strike Global Elite feud that is still happening nowadays. And
I wouldn't really call it a feud because his CSGO career, it's basically being a silver player his entire life, so I don't think it's a career worth mentioning.
Well, he might at least have a career in this tournament, already taking home $500. That's a lot of money in Russia, and maybe going home with... Well, if he... No. Dude, I don't even own a tournament. If he wins right now, or if Marcel wins, they go home with €1,000, which is like 10 years of living in Russia.
Yep, definitely. He can join the oligarchy in that country. Straight in, right into the top, the 1% there of Russia.
Well, gentlemen, let's not stand it for me here. One thing's for sure, Fabian will not be in the final interview just to save us from some drama. And we are switching to full cam. I'm gonna leave this call for a second, Fabian. I'm gonna talk to the guys, and I'm gonna have the coin toss. Am I doing this all right? I think so. Gentlemen, say hello to your players of game number 2. Grisha Putin and Marcel. Grisha, are you here, my brother? He's muted. Marcel, are you here?
Yeah, hello.
Grisha is muted at the moment. Let's see if we can get him in here. Maybe he's just mad at Fabian. I like him though, he shouldn't hate me. But Grisha remains muted. I would predict that he is
Do it with Marcel. Do it with Marcel.
Yeah, we're gonna do it with Marcel. I'm just gonna open the game real quick. Well, are you younger, Marcel? Do you know that?
Well,
There he is. Grisha, are you
Hello?
here?
Yeah, hello.
Who of you both is younger? You know that?
I'm probably younger.
Marcel, you agree? No problem there?
Yes.
Okay, well then, Grisha, you once again can choose between the two.
Russian Falcon.
The eagle, and it's the Russian Falcon. We're flipping the coin, and I don't see my cell phone stream. 1 second. And we have the Falcon again! Everybody's predicting the Falcon. It's ridiculous. Grisha, that means in game of 1, you choose your nation. What is it gonna be?
Россия.
Россия! Ruski! Thank you very much, Grisha. I wish you, Marcel, all the best, man. All the best, brothers. You did a great job so far. All the best.
Good.
And we are returning to Fabianovic. Gentlemen, I'm gonna join the game now. You have ID? No, you don't.
I
right?
have not been supplied that.
I'm gonna give it to you. That guy probably doesn't have you in friend. And here it is. Boom. Jesus, I'm excited for this game because I think it's far more equal than 70 versus Dan, because both these players are equally paced. They're on equal levels, on equal terms, and this game is gonna be much more crazy and much less one-sided, in my opinion.
Memes aside, I think that this is going to be a closer game, just as you're saying. I mean, both of these guys went 2-0 in the quarterfinals. Grisha beating Nave, who a lot of people were looking at as the favorite to win the tournament alongside 7D. Marcel also went 2-0 against Lucifer. So neither one of them have really lost a matchup this weekend. It's going to be interesting to see.
It's going to be yeah.
One thing that's very interesting, however, is that since Grisha beat Nave 2-0, Nave actually is the one who put Marcel into the loser bracket by winning 2-0 against Marcel. So saying that, Grisha going 2-0 against a guy who beat Marcel 2-0, obviously it's a different matchup. but the numbers look to lean a bit into Grisha's favor.
Yeah, Marcel has improved a lot, just as Grisha, and Marcel yesterday had the character of the defender of the shield, a guy that plays very defensive, and it worked against his opponent Lucifer. Grisha, a very unpredictable young man who is still in the tournament, unlike Dankus, and it's gonna be a very, very interesting game. We are in the game. I'm switching to the game scene here. And then I have to do Grisha's names, otherwise the directors are gonna kill me. Put this guy here, put this guy here. Grisha choosing Russia. Isn't Grisha actually the first guy who chooses Russia over Germany? I don't know if I'm wrong here. Maybe chat knows instead of just spamming. I think this is the first time someone chooses Russia as their first nation.
I think it's the first time someone is choosing it on in terms of like as their first choice. It was information we've been given by the production staff is that apparently Marcel has been doing really good in practice. Apparently he is seen as the second best guy in practice after 7D, and
Damn.
if that has anything to show, I mean, being second to 7D doesn't sound too bad now, does it?
And we just received word here from the host. We are starting in 5 minutes. Marcel taking an air break. These people obviously have all the rights to take little breaks and breathe before these big moments. For a lot of these kids, this is big moments. And you know what? I envy them a bit. I want to ask you this. When I was younger, I was never in any esports situations. I once was when I was 22. I had a live StarCraft tournament. I completely fucked up. It's a very sad story. But I respect that at this young age, these people, these young kids are already in this esports situation with thousands of viewers and a lot of money on the line. When you started becoming an esports personality, when did you start? How old were you?
I mean, I started quite late. I had already been working for 2 years as having a full-time job. I had studied for 2.5 years in university. I'm turning 27 this year. The first time I would say that I had a full-time paying esports career would be maybe 4 years ago.
Oh, wait, yeah.
Before that, I mean, when a game is very small, like Rainbow Six Siege was at the time, I remember when we were having like 10,000 viewers each game every week, and the salary at that point was just 100 euros. So that's not something you can aim to do full time. And after we had started winning a few tournaments, that's when we started getting paid full time, and eventually I got paid quite handsomely, which meant that I decided to stop my studies. To be full-time esports, you have to get to quite a high level before you get paid enough to do it as a job.
Yeah, and as you see, Fabian, 3 years ago, I never really was actually an esports personality or in front of camera until 3 years ago, and these guys already in their young age reaching this level. The game just started. I have to change my title. Grisha versus Marcel over here. Thank you, chat, for telling me. Actually, you guys are actually useful. There you go. Title is changed. The music stopped, and we are going into some music. And here we are. Everything is set up. Everything is there. And we have on Germany, Marcel, representative of the non-sub plebs, and on Russia, the crazy guy, the pride of Russia, we have Grisha fighting for his home country. I'm nervous because I know for a fact this will not be one-sided.
Well, if you are nervous, imagine the nervousness that the players are feeling right now. They're the ones fighting for both the honor of getting into the final, getting the chance to fight for a bigger number of money, and they're also fighting for their lives here. This is what makes it or breaks it for them, right?
We already have a first meme by Grisha here, sending all his tanks to Sevastopol, Crimea. Is this a political statement? It is what it is. After all, they're young, and Crimea has just been occupied by 32 tanks, and now they're going to the front line. I gotta say, once again, I was just simping for these players, also Berlin being taken here, that I'm very happy for them that at a young age they reached this point. And I gotta also be honest, this prize pool is not a major prize pool of $200,000 or something. After all, the community came together and brought together $5,000. Crazy fucking thing to happen. And if I imagine at 15, 16 years of age, I win a tournament and get 2.5k, bro, I will go ham with that money. At that young age.
it definitely is a start of something, you know, like everyone starts at the bottom. I remember the first tournaments that I was playing in, back when Rainbow Six Siege was completely new, back in early 2016. The first prize in tournaments was $100. So it has to start somewhere, right? And from there you can only go pretty much upwards.
Exactly,
and it doesn't have to be those big numbers to begin with.
Exactly, 2.5k is already a beautiful start. That's more. They make more money than I ever did in esports. I think I never made any money in esports. Yeah, God, I'm so sad. I feel so old today. Everybody's esports except me.
Yeah, I mean, I made my fair share of esports money. 2.5k. It's a bit on the lower part, but that's just overall if you look at the ecosystem, and esports money is extremely high these days. And we're looking at a game that is... This game is in its infancy of esports. If you want to give this game a shot, people like the ones in the chat, they need to be the ones pushing it forward. It's the chat and the people that are involved into the community that needs to push and push and push if they want to make this a reality. And there's nobody else who can make it happen, because in the end, what the people that build these tournaments care for, they are the ones who care for numbers, the viewers, the people that gets themselves involved, the chat interaction. That's what people need to see to be able to endorse these sort of tournaments.
And as you said yourself, you have to start somewhere. This is the first event in existence for Hearts of Iron 1, 2, 3, 4 with already a price pool of 2.5k. It's low compared to others, but it's a start, and I'm very proud of that start. We're getting somewhere, and if you think about the next years to come, Hearts of Iron 5, whatever is going to happen in the future, it's beautiful what we've created here, and we are in game number 2, gentlemen. Let's take a look here at the build. Fabian, what do you see?
I see a very heavy focus on the north here for Marcel. He still has some spread out tanks in the south. He doesn't have that much around the Carpathian, so a Lvov pocket doesn't seem very likely in the early games here. If we're looking at what Grisha is doing with his tanks, he has spread them out completely evenly, except for the north. The north he has completely given up on. So it's going to be interesting to see here what sort of counter Grisha has to the push that Marcel is going to start off with. Because for me, quite clearly, Marcel wants to push in the north. Grisha wants to have a little bit of flex everywhere. But the only place he doesn't have flex is where Marcel's main push is coming.
Grisha, once again, Grisha always seems like he takes all his 22 tanks in one hand and then just throws them in a direction. They're always together. They're never really... There's always a connection between every single tank. They're never separated in the way Germany does it here. And he truly wants to focus on the center. I gotta be ready for the timer. Yes, I know, chat. Timer is gonna be ready.
The way that Grisha spreads his tanks out, it gives him quite a bit of flexibility with them, because they're always next to each other, being able to support each other, which gives it highly unlikely that 1 or 2 tanks will be caught off guard and surrounded.
And there the timer starts, and the first attack happens in the south by Grisha, who's looking for some damage in the south, in Romania and Bessarabia. Nothing else going on yet, and now it becomes a big push. Grisha is looking for something big here.
Oh, he's already taken one of the mountain tiles, and it's left an open square just behind it in the Transylvanian mountains. It's a quick push, but then again, you're looking at Marcel's reserve tank units in the south.
They're beautifully placed. They're legit ready to stop the pincer move. That was beautifully done. You saw right here, chat. The 4 tanks being ready for what's about to come, like he predicted what's going to happen.
Looking at the overall front line, however, we're looking at Grisha pushing aggressively everywhere. He's pushing in the north, he's pushing in the Carpathians, and he's pushing in Romania. He is not slowing down here, that's for sure.
Oh yeah, that middle push looks scary, but now here's the reaction by Marcel. He takes his northern tanks and goes to the front line at Brest, Levitsky, and Lublin, and he wants to face these Grisha tanks. Very interesting game start here. I love how the German tanks were ready in the south. You really see these people practice together a lot with each other.
Yeah, one thing is for certain, Grisha had a plan with picking Russia first. That is clear.
You mean his aggressiveness here?
Yeah, I think this is something he planned. I mean, you saw how he knew exactly where to push his tanks for his push to start working. He was pushing north, he was pushing south, and if you look at it, he's taken most of Moldova already. He's pushed into the mountain tile. He's taking 2 of the Transylvanian mountain tiles and defending there. It's just gonna make his life much easier. He's also shortening down his front line by no longer having the bulge in the Lvov pocket. It's now a continuous front line. So I think these are some things that he's planned, but then again, what do we know really, right?
That is true. You never know what is planned here and what is just spontaneous. A very interesting story, chat, that was just reached to me today. Yesterday, Grisha and Knave played against each other. And apparently, these guys are friends. They know each other while 7 infantry is being taken against Germany here. And apparently, Grisha was playing Knave a bit. They would always practice with each other. And Grisha would legit save the save files of the game and look at them afterwards. And he will show Knave a certain style of play. And then at the tournament, will play completely different. He 7D chessed, pun intended, his friend Knave, and came up with a completely new tactic. In this game here, Grisha cannot prepare such a high IQ tactic against Marcel because they have not been practicing together before this tournament, and he doesn't have any save files from former games.
I think strategies is something that is very common in these more developed esports scenes. For example, you don't go into practice showing your opponent your best hand every time. It's more about building up the basics of gameplay and the basic understanding of the strategies used in these sort of multiplayer scenarios. Obviously, it's a very smart move by Grisha, and it shows that there are people that understand the future of how to play proper esports.
I love this. I gotta tell you, I love this. This is exciting. We're seeing, as predicted, a more equal game here. 7 infantry died from Marcel so far, but the game looks very equal. This is not a 7D game where after 3 minutes it's all over already. 7D probably watching right now, looking at his future opponent, trying to learn what they're up to. And as I say that, another 4 infantry is gonna die for Germany, apparently.
And there looks like there's gonna be more. It seems to be a circlement just north of that as well.
Oh yes, he's trying something there that could lead to another 3 dead German infantry divisions. This is some heavy infantry losses already here in the first 4 minutes.
While looking at the numbers, we already have 11 lost infantry divisions from Marcel.
He got him out. It stays at 11 lost. At least he got that out. Good job.
And not a single division loss for Grisha so far, so it's looking good for him. I think that also one of the things that Grisha is having in his positive book is that when you choose to start as the Soviet Union, you kind of give your opponent an unexpected start to the game, right? Because if you are the one who wins the coin toss, you prepare yourself to play the Soviet Union because everyone picks Germany. And all of a sudden, Grisha just picks the Soviets.
Another argument for the mind games of Grisha possibly here. We will see about that. Obviously, Russia always seems a bit more aggressive in these games. The Germans always protecting the northern woods and stuff. But the phase of aggressiveness, early aggressiveness is over, and now we're in the stalemate middle game phase, where it's very equal, and we will have to see who comes out on top in this phase.
Very surprised about Grisha taking the Carpathian Mountains. That seems to be the weakest point to actually attack in terms of, well, your stats for the attacking units will go down the furthest. But he's taken the entire mountain range, and I don't know if that's a strategical thinking in terms of, I want to take the mountains so I can defend in them, or if it's a strategical thinking of, I want to actually try pushing in the Carpathians.
But a lot of Germans out there to face these pushes. I see a German red bubble, though these Russians still pushing the mountains in the north. Germany being the more active part, doing some minor pushes, but at the moment, tanks are facing tanks. And no easy snakes are possible.
If we compare this game to the last one where we were watching 7D and Dankos, it was a lot of more hard on, much more aggressive fighting and much more encirclements being done early on, and I think that we're looking at a much more even matchup this game, if I'm going to be honest with you. It seems like these two guys are evenly matched.
I like that very, very much. We're going to have a great series here, a great game number 2 that will not be easily decided after just 5 minutes, and it's going to be very exciting what we will see in these next 2, if not even 3 games.
For sure. I mean, we're looking at a lot of back and forth here in southern Poland. They seem to be pushing 2 squares in, and then they get pushed back 2 squares, and that seems to be the thing that's going on right now. Greece is continuously pushing down from the Carpathians, trying to push into well, into Transylvania, Eastern Hungary, if you'd like. It's Grisha has some ideas here.
Exactly. I see a lot of funny business in the middle here in the center, back and forth. Everybody tries to set up an encirclement, but always gets instantly countered. This is some high-level chess on an equal level.
With this back and forth, I'm actually wondering. Oh, we're looking at an encirclement attempt next to Lublin. 2 tanks. Nope, they got pulled back. I'm wondering how the back and forth is actually good for the players. I'm thinking about the organization gain that you get from not being attacking continuously and fighting continuously. Do you think it's an organization grind where one player is going to try to keep a few tanks in reserve, grind down the organization of their opponent, and then attack with those high organized units?
We just saw a little all-round of infantry here, and to your question, that is a very, very high-level question. Back in the day when we started thinking about what is high-level HOI4, how does it work, there was a player called KLS who teach me something. You attacked him in Russia, you took a tile, and suddenly there was tanks in the second tile countering you. And he showed me a thing called organization juggling. Organization is such an important thing in this game. I think that newbier players, people that don't play on that high level, they don't care about organization. But Fabian is totally right. He often talks about organization, and it's totally true. Organization and how you manage your organization might just make the big difference here.
And as I was saying earlier, Tommy, I'm going to interrupt you here because we're seeing a big push in the south of Carpathians here into Hungary itself. From Grisha, he is pushing hard with tanks, trying to get some encirclements.
Well, we see what happened with the Carpathian push. 3 infantry was encircled for Germany. He gets them out though, but this is getting heavy. We've never seen a Carpathian push yet, and these tanks are just going really ham in this situation here.
He's doing a reverse Lvov pocket, but what we're looking at here is Marcel is trying to push back into the mountains. This is a race against time for both of these players who can cut off.
There's the first 2 tanks, and we just talked about orc. These tanks are unorced, only 20% orc, and that means they're quickly gonna be killed. They don't have a lot of life left, but countering here in the middle, 3 Grisha tanks and 2 Grisha infantry is being taken. And I think the 2 tanks, no, they died. The 2 tanks died for Germany, but the instant counter here in the middle.
We're looking at the first tank losses. Oh, look at this pocket. This is such a good and such an important play for Marcel. Losing those 2 tanks in that small pocket, now he's getting 2 tanks back with a few infantry divisions as well. This is the sort of comeback that Marcel needs from losing a few infantry divisions early. This is the sort of way that he can come back into this game and actually make it even more even of a game.
Wow,
but this one has been so
the 5
close.
tanks here saves them. Everything's being saved. This is crazy. This is encirclement after encirclement. This is some high-level stuff. You don't even know who comes out on top. He saves the encirclement again. This is insane. But Grisha seems to be off the losing end number-wise here. It all comes down to the Carpathian battles here.
Marcel really needs to close the pocket that he's created in Pressov here. When he's closed that, he can take out some tank divisions and even out the numbers.
Oh, he's going hammer.
He needs that.
This is some high-level place here. This is a big front line that's very hard to pay attention to. There's so much going on here. It seems like the Pressov pocket is going to be closed. And it's going to die. It will not be saved. Ay.
It's such an interesting game, this one, because if you look at the numbers again, now that this pocket is going to be closed, we're looking at a total loss of 13 infantry divisions for Grisha here, which is going to even out the infantry divisions at 104 against 104. However, he's going to also lose a few more tank divisions. We're looking at 1 more tank getting killed off, which means that in total, Grisha is going to have lost 5 tank divisions, while Marcel has only lost 2.
Exactly, we're going to see 27 German tanks, 30 German tanks against 27 Russian tanks, and the infantry numbers are going to even out here slowly. Still a very even game, slight advantage tank-wise for Germany. Beautiful place here in the Carpathians. Oof.
Yeah, that was a very important play by Marcel, and he actually evened out the numbers. He was a little bit into the negative before that push from Grisha, and honestly though, I think that the push from Grisha itself was also a very impressive take, because he did something we haven't seen before, an aggressive push through the Carpathians. It's very unlikely, and I don't think we've seen someone so far this tournament.
That was very interesting. I love how these games vary with different tactics. Grisha seems to always be the one triggering some different tactics, some awkward plays that seem to work sometimes, don't seem to work other times. And we are back now in the game phase where the probing starts, the feeling out each other starts. It's going to be very interesting. The timer's saying 18 minutes.
Well, that means we're 12 minutes into the game. It started out pretty slow in comparison to the Dankus D7 game, but like we're watching at a crazy take here, and we look at that entire push that Grisha just committed to in the Carpathian Mountains. It actually led to him losing much more than he had already killed off from Marcel, because now Marcel is both in the lead of infantry and he's in the lead of tanks.
Let's see if he can use that lead to his advantage and get the win in the end. Still equal enough. Grisha is not in big trouble here. The infantry actually almost equal. Pretty much equal. The big difference is the 3 tanks. But if you're honest, if you know the game, this is still very equal.
And I have to correct myself because I noticed it when I was talking. It's 7D, not D7. D7 is from when you're playing dice, when you're playing Dungeons and Dragons and all that stuff. And that's not what we're doing right now, is it?
That's not... What did you say yesterday? The 7 D&D doesn't stand for defeat. Someone said that. That was...
I have no idea. It wasn't me. The only thing I know with the 7D is I'm as fat as 7 dragons, and that's about it.
And yeah, at the moment, chat, we are in the... I call this the probing phase, I would say, where people look for weaknesses, and as Dankus said in the interview, it all comes down who is the first to make mistakes, who is the first to stop showing attention and micro. Who will make the first mistake?
I mean, so far this is the most even game of the day, obviously, and the most even match in terms of best of 3. Compared to yesterday as well, I think that this is the most even matchup we've had. I mean, look at it. We're 15 minutes in, and there's definitely no clear winner or any clear advantage from either of these players.
And that's what the people want to see. You don't want to go to a Champions League quarterfinal and someone leads 5-0 after 15 minutes. That's kind of boring. We're not in the Brazilian World Cup here, and this is going to make for some great entertainment. We see some pushes now on Brezhnevitsky. The probing continues.
Grisha definitely doesn't want to give up the Carpathian Mountains. Every time I see him losing a tile, he immediately pushes it back with 2 tank divisions.
He seems to really be mostly attached, and there is a little circumvental above.
Do you feel like he's putting too much effort into the Carpathian Mountains, or do you actually think it is as strong of a defensive position as you and I would like to think from a more casual view of it?
Me, as the greatest competitive player of all times, with a non-casual view, obviously, I would think if you should always push a point that could lead to a possible encirclement. And actually, I don't see how a push in the Carpathians leads to encirclements here. In the end, he seemed to be on the losing end when he pushed the Carpathians just some minutes ago. And pushing the Carpathians, let's think he will actually push the Carpathians. It doesn't lead too much. The center, the north, looks much more juicy here, as we now see in the center.
Yeah, there doesn't seem to be this sort of physical border that would be, well, the Baltic Sea. It doesn't have the same, like, sort of physical border where you can cut him off. It just opens up into a massive plains in Hungary, really, if you push through the Carpathians. It doesn't really have that easy of a push through. But then again, once you get to those plains, those tanks just keep on chugging, right? I mean, they move fast in the plains.
But I personally would be very scared. Let's say I get through the Carpathians, I get to Budapest. I'd be scared of counterattacks from the north and circling my Budapest push. I personally wouldn't be willing to risk that.
Yeah, I guess you don't have that much of a cover. For example, if you push in the south, you have the Black Sea as one of your front lines, right? Mm-hmm. You don't really have that. You kind of create yourself a bulge in your own line.
Yes. Always a very risky thing to do in Hearts of Iron. We see some infantry dying for both sides, so equal here. Actually, Russia being 8 infantry ahead. He's going to lose these 2, and he takes the lead with 8 infantry after all.
Yeah,
40 minutes left.
You mentioned it just as I'm about to. He's taken a bit more damage now, Marcel, in these infantry divisions. And just as I say that, Marcel is actually pushing away in Poland.
Yes, we see a nice center push here, soon getting into the marshes of Shrek. But we don't see any big encirclement threats yet. It's going to be interesting to see. As the timer goes down and as these guys understand that their time is ticking down, will they become more aggressive? Will they just try to save their points? It's going to be very interesting.
I mean, if we look at the points currently, seeing as Grisha has 8 more infantry divisions remaining in his front line than Marcel does, that means that he's 8 points ahead in infantry. However, since Grisha has lost 3 tank divisions, each tank division results in 4 points, 3 tank divisions less, that means he's 12 points ahead way behind the in-tank divisions. So in total, Grisha is actually in the position where he's about to lose the game if it would go out on points. I mean, we obviously have 30 minutes left. That's a lot of time. Anything can happen during that time. But I don't think that either one of these players are looking to win on points at this turn of the game. I think they're trying to win by encirclement still.
Fabian once again showing he's the master of mathematics on Twitch. Well done, and exactly, he is 4 points behind. He just loses another 2 infantry, now being 6 points behind. If it will come to a count of points here, that will happen in 12 minutes. Grisha will be on the losing end here, and already we still have time. This is gonna lead to him being under pressure later. When you only have 4 minutes left on the clock and you're behind 10 points, you gotta make something big happen, and that is gonna lead to chaos all around the front line.
I just find it quite hilarious if you compare this game to the other one against Dankus and Mr. 7D. It's like I look at the days, because when you spectate Sweden, you can see how long the game has been going on for, how many days it's been going on for, and we've played now for 173 days. 90 days into the game between Dankus and 7D, Dankus had lost 60 divisions of infantry. Now we're looking at 175. We're looking at 3 times as long of a game, but the numbers are so much closer to each other.
Luckily, we have a longer game here in game number 2. Otherwise, this international will be over quickly, and I could watch some anime tonight. I just received a message that maybe Grisha tried to get through the Carpathians into Hungary, because Marcel, actually himself being Hungarian, trying to get the moral victory there. That didn't work. Marcel is successfully protecting his home of Hungary here. Shout out to all the Hungarians in the chat.
That must definitely be it. The moral damage that he would have taken from losing Hungary, he wouldn't have been able to withstand it. We're looking at the Grisha push in the south here again. We're looking at him trying to push through the Carpathians, but also into Romania. Gonna be interesting to see what that leads to.
That Romania push looks very interesting. Only 2 German tanks there to defend.
Yeah, and we're looking at Marcel pushing in southern Poland at the same time, so these players have different ideas of where the final pushes here in the last 10 minutes are going to come from.
A very long probing phase so far in the last minutes. Not a lot of kills happen. I think only 2 infantry have left this realm of existence in the last minutes. And we are going to reach the 10-minute mark. The final third, the end game, is going to happen now, Mr. Stark. And we're going to see who comes out on top. Grisha, the time is running against him at the moment, point-wise.
It definitely is, but if we're looking at the organization rate numbers of the German forces in the south of Poland here, a lot of those units are actually quite low in organization. They're starting to regain it at this point, but it's not high enough to stop these tank divisions. And if you look at Grisha's tanks, they just got pushed back, or he actually pulled them back, I think. But the numbers were looking poorly there for a second for the Germans, and we just see overrun infantry.
Against Grisha, who went from 94 to 91 infantry here. We saw a little overrun. The points are slowly going towards Marcel here.
Definitely looking good for Marcel. I mean, those 3 tank divisions, the difference between having 3 less or 3 more, it seems to be quite impactful when it comes to being able to move, because you always have those 3 tank divisions that you could put somewhere quite in reserve, pretty much. And they just sit back and chillax until they're needed. So it looks Marcel is playing it very intelligently, and Grisha he just shows a lot of craziness when it comes to where he decides to push his forces. But it leads to an interesting game, that's for sure.
And as Fabian is saying that the 9-minute mark has been passed, we have 9 minutes left here for Grisha to still make some points, and he's looking for some crazy moves happen now in East Hungary in the Carpathians again. This is the big Carpathian game, and there might be something going down here.
We're looking at an open square in Klüche. Oh, he just saved himself from it.
Oh, I see 4 German tanks going ham. No
Oh,
stick
we're
of
looking at the
agents.
snake.
Beautiful play though. He instantly cuts the 2 tanks and retreats to. Oh, that was well played. He retreats the 2 tanks, so he's supported the back, but Grisha manages to safety encirclement for 2 tanks of himself. Oh, this is some high-level stuff. And no one dies. Everything gets saved. This is some high-level stuff.
That looked really close for Grisha's game plan there. That could have ended really poorly for him. But what a play to save those 2 tanks, or 4 tanks
done.
was even in that pocket, wasn't there? That's
4 tanks.
Yeah, that's very important number
Now
to
see
save.
2 German tanks again in Przezov Kozice in northeast of Budapest, going ham. And once again, you see chat, he cuts them and he wants to retreat, but there's the retreat. Well played. He presses the tanks, he cuts them, 1 retreats, and that's how he creates space here. No encirclements though, but he creates space. Well done by Grisha.
Definitely. He's finding these little pushes that they're impressive, but quite a lot of the time Marcel is actually just finding a way to push them back. Grisha is continuously pushing in the south here. Now he's pushing on the southern part of the Carpathian Mountains all the way down into Romania from the north. Interesting approach to it.
As predicted, a very equal game. If you pay attention to the tanks here, chat, these players are reaching such a level, they always retreat little tanks, as Fabian always says, to regain orc and bring them back into the battle. The level of this mod, the level of the players, the level of this tournament is just rising and rising, and I can't wait to see what the level is going to be in the finals. We know with 70 in there, we have a high level of competition in the finals, and one of these 2 guys is going to be the one to face him there.
We're looking at a pocket here in the Carpathians one more time. 2 infantry units are currently stuck, and we're getting the AI retreat into the pocket next to Przezov and Kozice. See if he can catch some more infantry, Marcel. Tommy, what would you do with those 3 tank divisions that you're up in favor for Marcel here? Would you use those 3 tank divisions to keep them in reserve behind your main tank battle line? Or would you use them maybe to go south into Romania and start to pick off some Soviet infantry? We're looking at quite a lot of weaknesses here with tanks in the far south. Look around Brasov and look around, well, I can't pronounce that, Citatea Alba. Would you use those 3 tanks to maybe gather yourself some free points in infantry, or would you use them as reserves?
I think I would. I think 3 tanks difference isn't a big difference. If you make 1 micro mistake, they're gone in a second. But I think if you want to be a high-level player in this format, you have to understand the timer and what points are. And now if I was Grisha, I would have 2 tanks right now in the south. I always argue about this, the south, and just get some quick little infantry kills in Romania, in G.O.A.T. Get some points and make sure that if in 5 minutes 40 this game is going to get called, I have the points on my side.
Yeah, it's hard for us to know what would he do, because we are not as experienced when it comes to this mod in particular as the players who are in the semifinals. I mean, they're the best of the best. As we don't have that same experience, it's hard for us to realize how much impact those 3 tanks might have. But I don't know, picking the small points off here, putting a little bit more pressure on Grisha from Marcel's side, I think would actually favor him. Because if he picks off, for each and every infantry he picks off, Grisha knows he needs to pick off more tank divisions. The only way really for him to come back is to pick off at least 1 tank division in the last 5 minutes here that we're coming up. Because currently the lead in points, and after 30 minutes the game ends, for the viewers that have just tuned in for us. You need points to win the game, 30 minutes it ends, and currently Marcel, playing the Germans, are in the lead by 4 points, and 1 tank division give 4 points.
So these games don't go on forever, chat, because otherwise we will be sitting here till 5 AM. There's a point system after 30 minutes that asks the players to actually engage in combat, and 4 minutes 30 is all left here. Then the game will be paused, points will be made. We didn't have a single game in the tournament that came down to the points, but this very passive game here, this probing game, this very equal game, might be the first game here in the tournament that will be decided by points. And it must suck to be on the losing end in the point system.
And honestly, what a game it's been so far. I mean, there isn't a game that I would be telling you have felt as even as this one. Like, there is no clear winner when it comes to the matchup itself on the field. Sure, the points, they say one thing, that Marcel is the winner, but looking at the game itself, would you say that there is a clear winner here?
Not
if
at
we
all.
let this go on for half an hour extra, would you be able to predict who would win?
I could not tell you, obviously. It would come down to who is the first to make mistakes, who's the first to lose attention. That's what it means to be a pro. Esports, that's what it means to be the greatest. You have to have attention for a long period of time. Everybody can play good for 2 minutes. My girlfriend knows that. But you have to show that you also have a lot of power in the long run here. And we will see how this goes down. How will they also do in the second and third game? And will attention be a big factor here? Probably, with both being this equal.
Definitely. I mean, again, it's just time and time and time and time, and the exhaustion that comes out from playing a map. It is crazy, the pressure that builds up. I remember back in 2019, during my own career for Rainbow Six Siege, we were playing the grand final of the Invitationals for us, and that's basically the World Cup grand final. A map usually lasts an hour for us, but the grand final, we played the longest match in history, where we played for an hour and a half, and that extra half an hour, which obviously extra time for you guys would be after 30 minutes, the time that comes after that, they take so much more on your mental than the first 30 minutes does.
That's very interesting to hear from someone that actually has esports experience. I don't know that mental load. I mean, I'm like not paying attention after 5 minutes already. People that watch the stream regularly know, please follow the channel, by the way. And it's gonna be a deciding factor. I love, as predicted, that we have such an equal game here in game number 2. There's no quick game number 2 gonna happen here today. And it looks like in 2 minutes and 16 seconds, we might go to the first ever point count in the existence of this tournament.
What I love to see here as well is that even though Marcel is the one winning in points, he's the one who is continuously pushing.
Oh! Grisha learning from the TommyKayVIBE book and finally using the 3 tanks you just talked about to encircle the south here. Taking, I think, 8 points. This might come down to a single point in the end. Jeez.
With all of these divisions going down, we're looking at the 74 to... We're looking at the Grisha win here in the last minute, and he's clawing out from... Yeah, he's clawing that out from nowhere. We're looking at a point deficit here of, well, let's see, 15 points minus... Wait, Grisha is in the lead by 3 points.
That encirclement in the south could have just decided in the game. Ali, make sure that you stop the game at when the timer is down, my brother. That is our host on Sweden. You gotta be kidding me.
I mean, that is such an interesting development.
In the end, you could even argue that this might be an advantage for Russia, and why Russia is a very good pick here, because you can get these easy point encirclements. But the Germany player had all chances to find themselves in the middle.
I honestly think that Marcel messed up here. Marcel's been the one, just when you said that about the encirclement in the south, I was talking about how Marcel is the one being on the aggressive foot in the end of the game, even though he's in the lead.
And if you're honest, it's 2 Russian tanks doing all this. That's it.
Yep, and the thing is, he's also in the lead with 3 tank divisions. Marcel could have played it passively, he could have played it patiently, he didn't, and it's punishing him.
What a comeback here by Grisha. 2 tanks is all it took. You can argue the Germany player could have sent tanks, so this would not happen. This might be it. We have 28 seconds left, and Grisha had in points. He was behind in points in the last 3 minutes here, and now he just took the Romanian infantry, and this might be game number 1 for him. 18 seconds!
Definitely looks so. He's in the lead with 12 points at this point, and if he gets 12 points within, 10 seconds, I'm going to be extremely impressed. I don't think that's going to happen.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and that is the first time. I need the host to pause the game, please. To make sure, 65-30, 89-27. And the game has been paused. The first point game here, and let's take a look at this for 1 second. I think Grisha won with decent encirclements. We have Marcel on 65 infantry plus 30 tanks times 4. 120 plus 65. We have 185 points for Marcel. Taking a look at Grisha here, he has how many tanks? 27 tanks times 4 plus 89. Grisha winning with 197 points here in game number 1.
12 points win. It didn't look that way for a long time now, did it? I mean, the last 2 minutes is when everything went down. And honestly though, I don't know if I'm looking at that as a Grisha win or actually a Marcel throw, because honestly, Marcel had the tank division advantage. He shouldn't allow that to happen. But for some reason, he kept pushing in the center of Poland and trying to push into northern Ukraine. But he let go of the peripheral of his flank on the far side. And he honestly lost himself that game.
Wow, I couldn't agree with you more. Grisha was always behind this game, and this is how this works. This is still a very young game. People don't know the mod completely yet, and there's still meta to be made. 2 Russian tanks just gave him game number 1, probably $1,000 game, maybe. And the 2 tanks killed a bunch of infantry and gave him a 197-point lead in the end over Marcel.
Woo. An interesting thing that coming in here to match number 2 of this is what we've seen every time is that when a player loses the game, he always makes the decisions to change country. But the thing is, usually they change to Germany. Because it's been the Soviet Union losing most of the games, what I've seen so far. What do you think Marcel will do here, seeing as he lost the game, he gets to pick the nation for the next one? Do you think that he's going to pick Germany again? Or will he change over to the Soviet Union? He was very close to winning, right? I mean,
yes,
he should have won the game.
That must bug him. That must bug him. But that is the rules, and these players know the rules. Marcel is a very defensive player, and man, I actually cannot answer. Who is more defensive? I feel like Russia always has that little encirclement in the south, but Germany has it too. I don't see it clear.
I feel like people are under-defending the south there a bit. I feel like most players should try to dedicate at least 2 tanks to the southern region. Maybe not always for attacking purposes, but maybe sometimes for actually defending it. Or at least having 1 tank there to stop the push to begin with, and then send more reinforcements if they're needed. But there needs to be some sort of defense there, because I don't see how you can allow yourself to lose the game in the last 2 minutes by 2 tanks, while you're also at advantage in the tank numbers.
I must think it must have been attention, and maybe in this moment you're in such an adrenaline rush, you're so busy with this game, your heart rate is so high that you do not think about the points, you do not know that you're only ahead by like 4 points, and you do not protect yourself with 2 needed German tanks, and that led to him losing game number 1 here.
Well, that being said, and we're sitting here talking about Marcel losing the game in the last 2 minutes, that game was the most even game we've seen so far, and I can't wait to see what's gonna go down in match number 2.
Exactly, Marcel now gonna choose his nation. We're gonna go into a commercial break. We're going into the phone screen here for a second. We turn the music off. That was game number 1. Fabian is a great host. Yes, Chad, that is very right. That guy has some experience about this stuff. And I have a little treat for you. We have some more commercials. Same commercial. Don't complain, gentlemen. We see you in a second for game number 2.
Alexa lost her voice this morning, causing a
Alexa lost her voice? How is that even possible?
We have the replacements ready, just say the word.
And you're sure this is gonna work?
Yeah.
Alexa, tell me a joke.
Bokken 1. I will beat you in FIFA, and you cannot stop me.
Alexa, play some country music. No, Alexa, country music.
The ginger boy is about to take this opportunity. It's time to talk about this fucked up community where some people think they are the boss of the game, but the way they handle...
Alexa, what's the date?
World of fucking... How about World of Women? Have you tried that, man? Get your phone, download Tinder.
Okay, thank you.
Grab the new Amazon Tommy today.
Man, I hate cardio. Activity playlist, running, hashtag gym flow.
Tommy K diss track.
All right.
It's your boy, High Quality Entertainment 69. And there's been something on my mind lately, boys. And I want to talk about it through my headset microphone. The ginger boy is about to take this opportunity. It's time to talk about this fucked up community where some people think they are the boss of the game, but the way they handle reality is fucking insane. They sit on their TeamSpeak servers, acting like kings, sharing political views and sucking their dicks. It's time to spread some reality. My room is the booth, and they remind me of Tonkish cause they can't handle the truth. Yeah, listening to your voice, I know the size of your belly. You watch the Big Bang Theory just to jerk off the...
Gentlemen, the music is also back. And we are back with our boy Fabian. Apparently, game number 2 is about to start in a few seconds already. Any final words you have for game number 2 and what Marcel has to do to take a win here over Grisha?
I mean, I can't tell you what either side should do to win the game. In the end here, we're looking at a very, very even matchup, and honestly, this game could go either way, and I hope that we get to see a third match in between these two players, because honestly, as even as this is, who doesn't want match number 3, right?
Exactly, that will be good entertainment. And apparently I got the news from the host that Marcel wants this game to start as quick as possible. I don't know if that in any way, shape or form has a tactical reason for him, but I just came back from peeing and apparently they want to start the game already.
Well, looking at the game overall, we're looking again at Marcel playing Germany and Grisha is playing the Soviet Union once more. I think he's down there occupying Crimea once more, or at least I saw his tanks there the last few minutes. I don't know where they went now, but somewhere.
He was doing a little meme here in Azerbaijan and Crimea. He is a big memer, and he takes game number 1. And if you win games, you can be a memer, but you can also go down like Conor McGregor. The timer is ready, boys. The build is here. Grisha didn't do his build just yet. I don't know what he's doing, but we see the German build. Interesting, 2 tanks and Drobrich at the Black Sea. Pretty basic opener. Grisha just memeing around a bit.
It looks like Marcel is going for quite an even spread out of his tanks. He doesn't have that many in the southern plains of Poland.
Oh, Grisha's obviously Germany. Jesus. No, no, Grisha. Oh, Marcel stayed on Germany. Oh.
Yes, I don't know if you didn't hear so, but I said so in the beginning here. It's alright. We all miss things in this world, don't we? For me, it feels like the Lvov pocket can almost only be done by the player that's playing Germany. And the decision that Marcel is doing here by leaving only 2 tanks in the southern plains of Poland kind of looks like he's not trying to go for that at all. However, looking at the 10 tank divisions he's put in Romania, we might look for an early encirclement in the south here. So there might be a little bit of a different game plan from Marcel this time than from the last game we played. Grisha's tanks are by Vitebsk, so he's not doing much.
I had to laugh a bit because these 2 tanks in Bucharest were just at Dobrich, and these were kind of the 2 tanks that were missing last game and could have given him the win. Now the 2 tanks are there. Both players are not AFK anymore. Both players are moving. This should start shortly. I have the timer ready. Exactamundo.
And looking at Grisha's setup here, all his tanks are north of Lvov.
It's
every
always in a
single
different
one
position.
of them.
But yeah, it's the same.
It's hard to see which one I think is the better. I honestly think that the setup that Marcel is starting with is some more balanced approach to things, because while at the same time as we see a push from Grisha in the north, Marcel can try some few encirclements in the south, grabbing these 3 points on the infantry that Grisha is actually leaving unprotected.
And there the game starts. Marcel on Germany again. Very interesting how he chose to stay on Germany after losing a game of it. I mean, he shouldn't have confirmation bias here. He unluckily, not unluckily, it was his fault, but he lost with a minor mistake in Romania, and he plays Germany again in his final, maybe final chance to remain in this series.
We're looking at an all-out attack here in the north from Grisha here. And like, I looked at the line of his tanks, and you could just see that they started from the south and they just went further and further north, and one after one the tank division started rolling forward. And it seems like we're looking at blitzkrieg from the Soviet sides here in the north.
That is totally right. We're gonna see blitzkrieg here. 32 tanks fully north. Not a lot of Germans to protect this. The German tanks in the south are not being micro. They're not being used. They're not doing anything. They're not showing any value. And the first encirclement's already happened for Grisha and his blitzkrieg. 8 infantry gone already.
There need to be a quick response here from Marcel with his tanks. They need to move north immediately for him to stand any chance to even regain control of the situation here.
And we see the first reactions. German tanks are coming off. They're very clumped up. We saw 7 tanks in one tile, 5 in one tile. They need to be spread out more. Grisha could exploit this. I actually see a complete opening in Sidlice if Grisha will use it. But man, what a strong statement here to start the game off by Grisha.
Well, Grisha seems to have realized his mistakes maybe from the last game. He didn't play as aggressive as he's doing now. Well, he did, but in the Carpathians, and that's not as good of a position to do so in, I would say. I mean, here you have the Baltic Sea to your north as a physical barrier for what Marcel can attack him from.
Oof. We just saw 2 tanks and a bunch of infantry go down here in a quick blitzkrieg encirclement. This Grisha blitzkrieg seems to work.
And you
Germany
remember how it was last game? We were looking at almost no losses. I think it was 1 infantry division each or something in those lines after about 8 minutes of gameplay, and we're already looking at 12 infantry divisions lost for Marcel and 2 tank divisions.
Marcel now trying to make things even with the Lvov encirclement. It's gonna happen. Grisha, beautiful micro retreat, some infantry, but an opening. If Marcel would micro right here, he could actually encircle a bunch of infantry. Russian tanks are here. Beautiful reaction by Grisha, who is now coming to end this encirclement. It seems to be working while he's pushing off, killing 2 tanks in the north. You cannot blink in this mod sometimes.
Yep, just as he was trying to close the pocket in the south, he was also losing his... Oh, and another 2 tanks are going down in the north now. This is looking really grim for Marcel really fast. Are we looking at the...
Another one. Another one.
Are we looking at the replay here? This is almost like 7D versus Dankas.
Exactly. Grisha does not want the game free. He's young. His mom was at the stream yesterday. He has to go to bed early. He wants a quick final, and he is overwhelming Marcel quickly here today.
I mean, a lot of people would maybe say that this is a bit of a disappointment and a let go from Marcel, but honestly, this is just that Grisha is playing really aggressive. Grisha is leaving no prisoners.
Not a
But at the same time, Marcel has missed his 2 tanks in Bucharest. They've been there since day 1 of the game, and they haven't moved yet. I don't know if Marcel has lost all their focus, or if he's just overwhelmed by the aggression that Grisha is showing.
He seems to be very overwhelmed. I don't know why the admin told me 5 tanks in circle. This could almost be a very quick game. I don't know why the admin told me that Marcel wants this game to happen as quick as possible. It seems like Marcel should have taken a little break here and refresh. He just lost 5 tanks.
Yeah, he lost another 5 tanks. We're looking at already at 13 tank divisions lost and 18 infantry divisions lost for Marcel. But we're looking at a 0 loss in both tanks and infantry.
This is a disaster. This is overwhelming. More and more tanks being taken. 5 tanks again. He saves some of pure infantry, but this is becoming to look like a game of a professional against a not so professional person. 9 tanks clumped up here. They are being held by 1 infantry. The game has been paused. What's going on? GG by Marcel. What? What does the timer say? You gotta be kidding me. To 5 minutes? 5 minutes, Fabian. The first game takes 30 minutes, and then this?
I don't know what to say, buddy. Like, we're going from a 30-minute full-on, the most even game we've seen the entire tournament, into a complete stomp. Like, what was happening? Is that Grisha's aggression just...
Wow.
Marcel had no answers. Grisha just kept rolling over him, He caught 2 tanks, 3 tanks, 5 tanks. All of it just went down at once, and there was nothing he did to counter any of the pushes that Grisha showed that he could be capable of doing.
Paid action to shit. I think the greatest screenshot you can make of this series is this right here. The 2 tanks in Bucharest. They symbolize, first of all, 2 tanks that were missing in game number 1 to save him in almost 1 game. And secondly, 2 tanks representing not microing them. He was overwhelmed. He maybe was nervous, maybe the pressure was too much, and Grisha took it, exploited it, and took this game in an unbelievable fashion. Wow. I'm almost speechless here a bit.
Again, it comes back to, I think he was overwhelmed. There seems to be no other answer to the question here. Because it went so fast. He missed microing the tank. Like, he was running around with those 2 tanks, right? He was putting up his main defensive line with tanks. He was putting up his reserves in the north, in the south, and in the center. And those 2 tanks, they went to around in Bulgaria, and then they went to Romania, but he never moved them after that. And when you have 2 tank divisions, and you're already suffering losses, you lost, again, as I said, you lost 2 tanks, 3 tanks. Those 2 tanks needs to be activated, and you cannot afford to miss out on any of the divisions that you have left. When you're in a deficit, everything needs to click correctly. And honestly, nothing clicked correctly for Marcel. But then again, we cannot just put this on Marcel misplaying it. it was a showing from Grisha, and Grisha showed that he wanted to be in the final, and he definitely earned that.
It actually happened. Grisha's in the final, securing himself $1,000. How many rubles is that, chat? That is some good money that he can show his mom, so she stops fucking with him as he's streaming. Oh my god, what a performance by Grisha in game number 2. Marcel tried his best. It wasn't enough. We are going into the interview phase here, switching cam. I will ask my boy Fabian to only ask Marcel questions and not engage with Grisha to save us from any drama. And we are going into the channel, and we have right here the unfortunate loser of this matchup, Marcel. First of all, before you say anything, you did a great job. You secured $500. You've gotten very far. A bit was missing in the end. How do you feel at the moment, Marcel?
Well, I really enjoyed the first game. I think it was a test of skill of who can micro better. And all I'm gonna say is, with micro like that, Grisha is not gonna win the finals.
Ooh, the harsh words here, Marcel.
No disrespect, man. But I've played against 7D, and I'm not the best microer. I made it this far, but I don't think 7D can be taken down with that kind of skill.
We understand. Grisha goes to the final as an underdog, but he can show and prove the whole world who he is. Marcel, Fabian, do you have any questions for our boy Marcel here?
Yeah, I actually do, because there's quite a lot of interesting things going on in the game, and the first match was very, very even, and you actually lost it in the last 2 minutes. I don't think that you... Maybe I didn't know that you were in the lead as much as you were. Well, it's not as much. You were 4 points ahead, but it felt like you were pushing all the way into the last minute, and you had a tank advantage of 3 divisions, I'm pretty sure it was. Yet somehow you didn't use those 3 tank divisions to your advantage. You let Grisha come into the south and actually surround your infantry in the south there in Romania, and that's what led you to losing the game in the last 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Is this something you feel was a mistake on your part, or do you feel like you had a plan and you wanted to just keep on pushing to keep him under pressure?
Well, obviously that was a mistake, but if the 30-minute timer wasn't there, I had a plan. Like, I was constantly microing the middle and pushing down south. And if I had 20 more minutes, I feel like I could have completely encircled the south.
Well, unfortunately for you, you don't have those extra 20 minutes, because the timer is at 30, and I guess that's a mistake you made, and it will come back to haunt you, but there's nothing you can do now, and unfortunately for you, you are out of the tournament. A second question that I have, the second game when it started, do you feel like you got overwhelmed? Both me and Tommy noticed that you had 2 tank divisions down in Bucharest that you did not use at all. They were standing there from day 1 until the last day. Do you felt like it was overwhelming? Was it too fast for your micro? Or what was the reason that you fell apart so hard in game number 2 compared to the structure and the even game number 1?
Well, the moment that I lost the second game was when I rerouted my northern tanks to the middle. I don't think the 2 tanks in Bucharest could have made too much of an difference, but I did put them there with a plan, and you never went for it, so like they were kind of unused. But I sadly couldn't avenge Knave and TD Camper. Grisha has beaten and knocked out. I was really hoping to get their revenge, but sucks to suck, I guess.
Man, Marcel, let me tell you one thing. Don't listen to chat and anyone. You did a great job. You went to 3rd and 4th place. You secured 500 loads. You went to 240 qualifiers. You did a great job, man. Don't let anyone take this rape from you. It's unfortunate. You will get there. Thank you for being part of this tournament, man. And let me ask you, what are your final words to the fans and people that believed in you and still believe in you?
Well, sadly I couldn't make it, but that's alright. My goal was always to make top 8, but we got farther than that. I would like to thank Fabian and the next co-caster for doing this event with you and the organizers. I think it's been a really fun tournament. Like Danke said it himself, he's had so much fun. I've had so much fun. Everybody has had fun. Like practicing can be a bit like burning yourself out, but I had fun.
Well, hey Marcel, No one can take this away from you. Good job, brother. We see you in the future. And we are now switching to an interview that I showed. I'm gonna have without Fabian, hopefully. It is with my boy who's muted again. He truly is a gangster. Our Grisha boy. We're waiting for him here. He is muted at the moment.
Maybe his mom came in again. Or maybe he started a silver Counter-Strike matchmaking game.
My boy Grisha, unfortunately, is muted. He's eating. I think he's live on Twitch, huh? And
hello.
There, 1 sec. Let me do this. Let us be alone here so no one can talk any shit. Grisha, Junge, how do you feel, man? Was denn los, Junge? How do you feel, Grisha? Don't you fucking give me... I feel okay. How do you feel, motherfucker? $1,000 in your pockets, man.
Fucking Operation Migration!
Kalinka. Grisha, man.
Operation Migration!
I don't know what he's saying, but I think he's very happy. I said he is my silent favorite. Grisha, you fucking made it to the fucking final. Jesus Christ, boy. I'm very proud. And my boy, Grisha, many people say 7D is the favorite, an unbeaten Godzilla that just annihilated Dankus Mimikos. You will face him later tonight in the final for $2,500. Elada, as you say. What do you feel about 7D? What is the formula to beat him in this best of 5 final?
The formula is to respect your enemies, which 7D lacks.
Oh, that is a very good answer. My friend, we're gonna take a little longer break here so you can brief a bit before the final game. I don't even know what to say. You did a great job here in game number 2. Why do you think you overwhelmed Marcel so hard in game number 2 while game number 1 was so close and even?
He is too young. Even though I am younger on the paper, I live much more years than him. I knew that I just need to take a small break from the first game. His anime feelings will kick in and he'll just lose all of his tanks. And that's what happened. In 5 minutes or 2 minutes, I just killed him.
Good job, Grisha. The pride of Russia, showing what Russian mentality means and where it can lead you. It leads you to the HOI4 International finals. My friend, before we go into a break here, what are your final words? Not to the fans, but to 7D.
I got nothing to say to him. Since he is so arrogant, he probably won't even listen to me. I just wanna say thank you to all the people who organized it. And a quick joke. Since I proposed to Dankus to do a 1v1, I'm the father of HOI4 International, Dankus is the mother, and you're the son, because you created this. This is a metaphor.
I understand, truly. I understand. Thank you very much, Grisha. We're gonna see you later tonight in the final, man. All the best, brother. Stay strong. We are gonna switch back to my boy Fabianovic. Cling, 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 cling. Cling, 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 cling. And that was that Grisha to you. Man, I would have loved to see Fabian in that. Russian culture, Russian people always have been different and very special. And you can see it with Dankus. It often leads to greatness. It sometimes leads to some awkwardness. But Grisha made it into the finals. How do you feel, Fabian?
Well, I don't really care too much about who makes it where. I think it's more important to have good matchups and to have even matches. And looking at the first match of Grisha and Marcel here, it was a really good contest in the first one, and then the second one, unfortunately, didn't go the same way. And I wish we could have gotten a third map there, but it is what it is.
Day number 2 going by very quickly, Fabian. You showed a lot of expertise today. You showed that you know what you're talking about. What does Grisha have to do? What does he have to show to beat the Goliath 7D in the finals?
It's hard to say. I think that he needs to run with the shock that he did in the second match here against Marcel. If he runs with shock and then keeps on pushing and keep up the momentum of aggression, I think that 7D might struggle with it. But then again, while I say that he needs to run with the shock and the speed, looking at 7D against Dankus tried to push very hard and very fast, and it just led to counter encirclements from 7D. It is... it is hard to say because it just seems to be, but both players have their positives and their negatives, and it's hard to call who's going to go out on top.
It is truly, truly hard to call. Gentlemen, that was game number 2 in this series. We have a quick day here today. I like that. But we have big content here tonight with the best of 5 finals coming up soon. Unfortunately, my great friend here, a beautiful co-caster, Fabianovic from Sweden, is gonna leave us here today. Fabian, I mean this, man. I'm not saying this for any content, whatever. It means so much that you had time today. Thank you so much, man. You're gonna see me and Fabian play Steel Division co-op campaigns next week. Big fun with him. Thank you so much, Fabian. What are your final thoughts about the tournament, about the co-casting, and what are your final words to the people?
I'm just happy that I got to be part of it, and I enjoyed my time being here casting. It's good fun, that's for sure. And I just wish both the contestants in the final good luck.
A man of few words, but of a lot of beautiful chromosomes. What? Thank you, man. I don't know where that came from. Fabian, thank you so much, man. I will call him out on social media or whatever, but he doesn't give a fuck. He just wants to watch Korean porn, but that is okay. Yep. We love him. Fabian, thank you so much, and bye-bye. Bye-bye. Wow, that was our boy Fabian, man. I appreciate him being here. Gentlemen. I received news that Drew Dornell is not around at the moment. Fabian, if you're still watching, there might be a chance we need you for the finals. Gentlemen, this tournament is going by quicker than we thought. I'm gonna run a big commercial break now. We're then going into a little break. We're talk maybe about 30 minutes here. We're waiting for Drew motherfucking Dornell. He's very busy. He's a sexy man. He's probably chilling with a bunch of women in California. We're trying to get him. Otherwise, I need my boy Fabian back, who's actually the carry of this tournament here today. Before we do that, I have a beautiful ad break for you. Check it out. I'm gonna see you after this commercial, and then we talk again. Let's turn down the music here. I like watching these commercials, man. Let's take a look, boys. See you in a second.
It is the year of our Lord 1936, and our once mighty Russian Tsardom lies in shambles. 17 years ago, as the Teutons fell victim to the revolution, we emerged as victors from the Великая война. However, our sweet moment of triumph was short-lived, as our beloved Tsar Alexei passed away shortly after. In the confusion, the traitors saw their chance. Republican forces stormed forth, desperate to destroy the throne of the Rome in the very core of our nation. Yet the White Army stood strong, fighting Republicans and separatists alike, driving them from our motherland. However, the damage had already been done. While Russia was saved, she was now a shadow of her former self, and the vultures had already set their eyes on Petrograd. Generals conspire against Supreme Regent Kolchak, with a desire to seize the empire for themselves. Our less than loyal governors would not fail to betray us either, should the opportunity arise. And they are not alone. Russia's enemies are numerous, not just within, but without. Far east, the Republican vermin in Zheltorossia lick their wounds in exile, gazing hungrily towards Moscow, hoping to return one day. To the south, the Kafkas society has found a taste for the abomination that is futurism, sharpening their daggers as they cackle and cower in their debauched fits of madness. And towards the west, our rebellious subjects have clung together as the Intermarium. With Poland at their lead, their Promethean ambition is to destroy Russia in its entirety. All their attempts will be futile, for the Russian nation will vanquish its foes and traitors as it had before, and the brave sons of Rodina will stand firm in the face of the oncoming Red Flood.
Welcome to Oman, the most beautiful country in the world. Wait, where is it? Oh, there it is.
Oman
It is known for many different wildlife, most notably
everything's.
It's also known for its friendly locals. Hello. You can enjoy a relaxing view of the beautiful ocean.
I can dance for you, Chet. I can dance for you, little boy. Or she'll do that.
But that's not all
Oman.
it is known for. It's also known for its two kings, Vegas and Tommy.
Oman.
Oman.
Or you can enjoy the quiet mountains of
Oman.
Fuck! Fuck! All our heavies! Fuck you! Fuck you! Holy shit!
For the low price of $4.99, you can book your flight to
Oman.
today.
This summer, experience the true British colonialism. Oh, look at the natives go, not a single chance. Experience industrial revolution like never before. Factory building, using child labor. Get ready for new bloody and pointless revolutions. Oh, you are sick from looking at this flag. Now prepare to get sicker in real time. You will be bored to death. This game will take your virginity away forever! Exclamation point. Introducing Victor 3. Game you will never be able to understand.
Twitch chat, I need you to pay attention. This is a public service announcement in respect for all those that have wasted their Prime. Those who use Prime on streamers that just don't stream. Those who use Prime on streamers that aren't entertaining. Those who use Prime on streamers that just aren't alpha. Here's where you make the best decision in your life. Use your free, yes, you heard right, free Amazon Prime subscription now. Start your 30-day free trial to Amazon Prime now, which includes one free subscription to your favourite streamer. Subscribe now.